Hello guys, how's it going? Lee here with So Happy Gaming, bringing you episode 4 of WoW Weekly. First off, I'd just like to welcome all our new viewers and subscribers. You guys are awesome, and the team here is going to be putting our heads together to think of ways to say thanks for watching and try to reel in some more fans. If you have any suggestions, then just leave a comment below. Now, on to the episode. This week, I'm going to be talking about the first mythic boss that we did in Blackrock Foundry, and that is Beastlord Darmak. This is a really good fight, there's loads going on, and it gets progressively harder as the fight goes on, which is the kind of fight that I like. Our raid consisted of 2 tanks, 5 healers, and a good mixture of DPS, but classes that have good AoE are very strong here, both for taking down the pack beasts and the spears. Not much has changed from Heroic to Mythic. The first phase will still just be Beastlord on his own until about 85%, and during this time he only casts Pin Down, which you still have to move out of, and Call the Pack, where he summons about 5 or 6 beasts to come and help, but they just get blown up by the AoE and don't really do anything, to be honest. At 85%, he'll mount his nearest pet and gain new abilities. The first pet that we go for is Cruelfang. While on Cruelfang, he'll gain 2 new abilities, as well as continuing to cast Pin Down. These abilities are Rend and Tear, where Cruelfang will leap to a ranged target, and anyone within 7 yards of the landing area will receive a bleed debuff on them for 30 seconds. And then he'll leap back to the tank and applies the bleed again to anyone caught in the area again, and this can stack, which can get very painful if you don't move from it enough times. He'll also cast Savage Howl, which increases his attack speed and any nearby allies by 75%, so this needs to be dispelled as soon as possible, because when Cruelfang reaches 40%, Beastlord will jump off and you'll fight them both at the same time until Cruelfang is dead, so the Savage Howl can buff Beastlord, which you definitely don't want for a long period of time. After Cruelfang is dead, Beastlord will retain the Rend and Tear ability. When he reaches 65%, he'll jump onto the next mount, which we chose to be Iron Crusher. Iron Crusher's 2 main abilities are Tantrum, which deals nature damage every second for 5 seconds. He casts this roughly every 30 seconds, so using personals or setting up healer cooldowns is a good idea for these. His other ability is Stampede, where he stomps the ground, knocking all melee back, and then charges a random ranged player, and stomps again, knocking back all the players in that area as well. Quite a few times as melee I've been knocked back, and then knocked back again because he's charged a player close to me, and you take damage from each stomp, so you just have to be aware of that. Again at 40%, Beastlord will jump off, and you'll fight them both until Iron Crusher is dead. When he is dead, Beastlord retains the Tantrum ability. At 45%, Beastlord will jump on the remaining pet, which we always leave as Dreadwing for last. Dreadwing's main abilities are Inferno Breath, which is a huge fire breath that also applies a stacking debuff on players, dealing damage every second. It's quite easy to see when and in which direction Dreadwing is going to cast this, because he stops and turns, so make sure you're to the side of him. The next ability is Conflagration, which causes players to take damage every 2 seconds and run around like a goon, causing damage to everyone within 8 yards every 2 seconds as well. This needs to be dispelled as soon as possible. As before, at 40%, Beastlord will dismount and you'll fight them both until Dreadwing is dead. When he is killed, Beastlord will retain the Inferno Breath ability, but it will be called Superheated Shrapnel instead. He will also start to imbue any spears from Pin Down with elemental fire that causes them to spit fire out at the raid. So after Dreadwing has been killed, before the final pet spawns, we try and kill as many spears as possible to minimise the raid damage. At 25%, the final pet, Faultline, my favourite name out of all his pets, will smash through the doors at the back and have his own fun abilities to deal with. Epicenter is the main ability that he'll do. It will spawn a big AoE on the floor that stays there until the fight is over, and this deals damage and slows anyone caught within it, so try and get them to spawn as close as possible to each other to maximise the floor space. He'll also do a cannonball barrage, where he'll shoot cannonballs in random places all over the room. Just move out of the orange swirls. You'll also need both tanks to be stood on top of each other at all times, because of Faultline's heavy smash, which deals 200% of his normal melee attack between his target and the closest ally. This makes the gathering the pack beasts a pain in the ass, so any sorts of misdirections are a great help here. Faultline also has a stacking buff that increases his damage by 10% each time. Unlike the previous pets, Beastlord will stay mounted until Faultline is dead, at which point Beastlord will retain Epicenter and the stacking damage increase buff. Beastlord will heal back up to about 50% after dismounting Faultline, and the best phase will begin. It is hectic. The whole idea is to kill him before he kills you. This is when you'll use heroism. He'll continue to cast Pin Down and Call the Pack, as well as all the abilities he's retained from his pets, and everything can go wrong very quickly in this phase, but stay calm, use cooldowns, and you should get him down. Overall, this fight is quite beasty. Beasty? But for the first mythic fight of the raid, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to getting stuck into more. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this week's episode. Leave any comments in the section below, like, share, subscribe if you want. I've been Lee with So Happy Gaming. Take care.